did you miss us? Draped in Gold is back after I played hooky last week. It's your one-stop shop for NXT content all around the world and all around the universe. What's going on? My name is Flobo Boyce, but as always, I'm not alone. I'm being joined by the guy who has so many photos of himself that he posts new content every day. I'm starting to be a little concerned. The real Jack Farmer.
Listen, when you got a face like this, you got to capture it for prosperity's sake. You know what I mean? You got to release it to the world.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you know how it is. It's the content game. This monster that was once just for fun that has now taken over our lives. Social media. You gotta love it. Used to have a life. Now.
That's all we do for the machine. What's up, Lamb? It's been a long time, man. Thank you. Thanks for rolling with us.
Yeah, Lamb from the old days, from the NXT UK days. Lamb coming through. Lamb, I haven't seen you you doing a lot of wrestling stuff lately. Where have you been?
Yeah, I'm gonna assume Deutschland. That's what I would think. Somewhere in Germany. I don't know. Does he even live in Germany? I always associate him with Germany, but I don't know if he lives there. Maybe Belgium. I don't know.
Yeah, I always thought Germany.
Yeah, well, I mean, Umbaziekbar. All right, so got to give a shout out to everyone watching live on that Facebook, on that YouTube, on that LinkedIn, and thanks to my broadcast colleague, that X as well. Drop your questions or comments, and we'll definitely get through them while we get through this show. But before we get into wrestling stuff, man, it's been a while, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am, I've got this weekend technically off, but you know how the world works.
Are you on boyfriend duty? What does that mean? I'm off, but I'm working. You know?
Well, you know how this world is for people like us. I'm working on stuff, just no one's gonna see it for a while. You know,
I hear that. Yeah,
stuff to do. Yeah, so I'm not getting paid this weekend, so that's pretty cool. But that also means I guess I get to work at my own pace, which is always fun. But I'm good. I'm solid. I'm a solid B- right now.
Oh, is that like a health thing or is that just like a vibe thing?
What's wrong with B-? I mean, maybe everyone is overachievers in this world, Flobo.
Right.
When I was going to school, a B- was a win, baby. Like, I was happy. B-, let's go.
I'm with you. My parents heavily disagreed. they did not like that at all. So, no, I got you. I have to make sure if you're okay because I did. I haven't talked to you in a couple of days. I see you still working at Wrestling Inc. You're doing so many things. I feel a little behind as well.
I got to tell you. So just talking about grades real quick. My sister. Me and my sisters. We're all very different. Oh. I got 3 of them. But oldest sister, a screw up, made it very easy for me to come through. And then she'll tell you. She led the way and was like, "Okay, man, Jack, look, this one,
Marty Jannetty was born first."
Yeah. Basically, she was like, and she'll be the first to tell you. So I just had to follow her lead. I was golden. My younger sister, right before me, though, a brainiac, a nerd. Nothing like me and my older sister, a real Poindexter.
The stain in your voice is hilarious. She's smart.
She definitely made it difficult for me as I was in the final years of school, because at first it was like, oh wow, Jack got a B-. He's doing good. He's doing great. Then my little sister comes through 4.0, never misses a day of school in her life. No. And they're like, Jack, what's going on? And I said, listen,
wow,
too late to start all that concern stuff, Mom.
Wow, you were like Reggie before they signed Javon Evans. That's terrible. I do stuff. I'm okay.
Basically, yeah, kind of. I don't know wine very well.
That's very cool. Who does really? I want red or white. It's good or it's not. I don't know. Notes of buttercream and vanilla. Shout out to Jared J. Finally catching this live so I can point out all the time Jack is right and Flobo is wrong. Hey. Right,
it's true.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. That's
Danny's saying I love how Jack throws his family under the bus. No one's safe around Jack Farm.
To be fair, he placed him neatly under the bus. He was very cordial. He's like, my sister, she'll tell you. My other sister, she's smart.
My sisters would probably do the same to me if they were in this show here. They would be saying Jack was the only boy, so he got away with murder. I could stay out as late as I want. Mom and Dad didn't care. Sisters, though, it gets dark. They're like, where are they? They better get back inside.
I would be the 4th man so fast to drop that like on Jack Farmer. And he sucks. Hit his pocket squares.
Shout out to JST Killer in the chat, by the way. Old pal from my original Twitching days.
All right, come on, City. I love the fact the PFP is Man City hold the Champions League Cup. All right, so we got to get into NXT because that's what we're here for. But the first thing I have a question is not so much about the contract signing between Ethan Page and Trick Willie because that was just a mess. But the question I have for you is this. Ava just can't seem to have everyone under control. Had to contract an NBA player to do it. What just happened here last night? Is Ava losing control of the ship of NXT?
Well, something I've been saying for a long time is that Ava just can't control NXT. And to the point that even Ethan Page finally echoing the thoughts of a lot of us, I don't know if you overheard him say to her, this place is falling apart with Ava as the GM. And I think he's right. And the fact that this
he's not. Who's he comparing it to? Wait, who's he comparing it to? There's no other GMs while he was in town.
William Regal, the great William Regal.
Page wasn't there.
Never, ever had issues under his watch. It was a completely smooth sailing ship. In fact, one of the only times in wrestling history where a brand, a company ran, not a single problem. There was no issues. No, in fact, people didn't even have personal rivalries. It was just friendly competition during.
You wanted him gone so fast. You wanted him gone, and then a window of his office gone with him.
So Ava. She comes through, and here, this entire main event is literally falling apart in front of her. This entire program, one of the biggest shows in NXT history coming up, is crumbling before her eyes. And what does she do? She delegates the task to a person who's not even on salary?
Yeah.
What is Ava doing here? This is your job. You're supposed to be doing this, Ava. What do we pay you for?
I respect having people do my work for me as well. I mean, let's be real.
Listen, and by the way, what do we pay you for? As if I have, as if my dollars are going to this. Ava, you can't just let some random Yahoo walk into the office and hand them the contract. Lucky that Tyrese didn't sign the contract himself. What if that happened? I mean, this was a total risk. This was a huge issue. Ava can't be doing this.
I was going to say there's no way you can sign a contract and just get the thing, but it actually happened when John Cena signed Finn Balor's contract for a title match against Roman Reigns 2 years ago. That's a deep cut. Shout out to Jared J, who says her biggest mistake in bringing Tyrese Halliburton, it would be thinking he'd be appreciated in Orlando, because really, Orlando Magic fans don't really exist.
Right.
Besides Josh Tariff, do you know an Orlando Magic fan?
No.
Exactly.
No. They were pretty popular in the 90s for some reason.
That was 30 years ago, Jack.
In the 90s. You know, back
I was popular in the 90s. Look,
I'll tell you, it was the style to have a Magic jersey on with an onion tied to your belt, if I recall correctly.
All right, Grandpa. That was top of time. Yeah, for real. Jason Tatum would have been great, or even Jalen Brunson would have been great. But
Jason Tatum respects the authority of the NXT GM and would never put himself in that situation to take this contract. Ava, though, I mean, I think anyone could have walked in there. I mean, what if there was just some, like a street vendor who walked in and was like looking to use the bathroom, and they're like, hey, I'm going to go cut some mangoes on a stick in a second, but I got to go wash my hands first. And she's like, here's the contract.
Well, to be fair, there was a false pretense that Halliburton was a friend of Robert Stone, which I don't know if he has an official role yet, but I would say co-AGM at this point.
And he didn't even know Robert Stone. How disrespectful.
No one knows
of this Stone. Guy, Tyrese. I mean, Tyrese, like leaving him high and dry too, sticking the knucks out. Wasn't even there to knuckle bump with him. Just the disrespect to someone.
Is that what it's called? Knuckle bumping? I don't know what the official scientific term is. Is it knuckle bumping?
Is it dapping?
It can be a dap. I don't know.
A knuckle bump. A knuck bump.
A terrorist fist jab. That's a deep cut. I won't get into that one. but what we did see was CM Punk. And CM Punk has now been drafted or conscripted to be the special guest referee for the NXT Championship. We thought CM Punk would have been in action or in a match at Chicago, but looks like his role has been revealed. Thoughts about that, man? CM Punk getting between All Ego and Trick Willie.
This is a matchup that so many people have wanted to see for a long time. It's really, I think we can agree, the two biggest names in NXT right now. And as mentioned by CM Punk himself, really the direction of this match could change the absolute direction of this program going forward into the CW. And I feel like Tyrese Halliburton really overstepped his authority by allowing CM Punk to be involved in something this important and this big. It was supposed to be about two competitors, figuring out who's the best. But now we've got CM Punk butting in, making problems, making fights happen before the match. By the way, what if one of these guys got hurt, Flobo?
Right.
What if one of these guys got injured and wasn't able to compete on the debut of on the CW? This again, Ava allowing the nutcases to run the nut house here almost cost themselves yet again a main event on one of the biggest, most important nights in the history of this brand.
Possibly. Perhaps even, mayhaps, if I'm being cheeky, but you're Ava, you're Robert Stone, you're Stevie Turner, you have access to some high-class clientele. Sexy Red's going to be back on the show in 2 weeks. Why not integrate them in the show the best way you can?
Now, Sexy Red as the guest referee, I think we could all get behind. CM Punk, though.
Yeah, but you can get behind Sexy Red. What the heck? leave Halford alone.
CM Punk, though, I mean, trying to make it all about himself. It's just, it's something you see that is, it's just a through line with CM Punk. It's all about him. Most selfish wrestler alive, CM Punk. And Ava not able to stand up to CM Punk the way a general manager should, not able to stand up to Tyrese Halliburton the way a general manager should. Actually, I don't know why he was back there. I mean, Tyrese should be in the seats with the fans, Flobo.
It's a packed house. There's 200 seats already filled. Don't let him go.
Well, there was a seat that was available, and it was the one that CM Punk used to sit in when he was just observing.
Man, the hate is strong. But hey, CM Punk was also busy. He was just getting involved in everyone's business, getting to the ring this week, having the whole crowd sing his theme song, which is something I wish we did more of for CM Punk, to be honest with you. I know you're a big CM Punk hater, but there wasn't a hater bigger than Roxanne Perez. Got in the face. She said, I preferred your wife. You used to be the voice of the voiceless. You ain't the same no more. And that brought out Julia. Now, Jack, CM Punk was just minding his own business. Roxanne Perez was slithering in the ring, and I think she got a little bit of comeuppance before CM Punk saved her.
Minding his own business, he doesn't even go here, Flobo. He doesn't even go to NXT. Yet, this is, again, something that Ava has not been able to stop, is this invasion into NXT. CM Punk, yet another invader coming from outside NXT, trying to be a part of it. And he actually admits to abusing his position in the company to scout future opponents for months before this. Something that I think we need to launch an investigation into, because it's disgusting how he was using his position to try to get one up on some of the people that we look up to as heroes, like Braun Breaker. That before Roxanne Perez mercifully comes out to try to cut him off. And now here he is trying to say, like, oh, you and I are similar, Roxanne. Like, he's trying to show that he's as big of a deal as she is. You know, it's kind of like me coming and be like, yeah, you know, me and Ryan Seacrest are just the same. Yeah, come on. Like, let's be.
You do say that all the time.
Honest.
That's why you stop hanging out.
When I say it.
I guess you're like, you know, I could do the Wheel of Fortune job all the time.
I mean, I could, and I'd be really good at it. I know. Listen, not to sidetrack, but listen, when it comes to English, I know a lot of words.
Not the sidetrack. When it's come up putting yourself over, you always sidetrack. Hey, not the sidetrack, but I'm pretty handsome and listen, I'm good at some words.
I mean, I know literally hundreds of words. I would be great on Wheel of Fortune.
Well, unfortunately, most of the chat agrees with you now. Gerald J says CM Punk is basically the WWE learning tree, which explains global love. You know what? If CM Punk had Brian Keith, I'd watch every single week. Lamb says Roxanne has some good points against Punk. I actually disagree, but I think some of the sentiment is along with you and Lamb. And of course, he follows up with what an analysis by Farmer. As always, what a guy.
I mean, look, I think Roxanne Perez hit the nail on the head. This is just a last-minute power grab by CM Punk before Drew McIntyre ends his career at Hell in a Cell. Or maybe, you know, maybe And maybe this is why CM Punk was trying to get the fight going before the show. Maybe CM Punk is hoping that he gets injured before Hell in a Cell so he can get out of it without having to tuck his tail between his legs. I think this is his way of trying to get out of the beating that Drew McIntyre is going to give him by making it look like something happened, maybe get sidetracked with something else. It's very clever. This is not CM Punk's first rodeo.
Besides a last-minute power grab, sound like a dope name for a PLE, Julia was also in the building. That's kind of the first stare down, or second stare down, actually, we saw between the two women. She's number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. And I know it's kind of early to ask you this, but after Chicago, will we see a new women's champion?
I think Roxanne Perez calls it. We will see a new champion of Chicago, Roxanne Perez. That is going to be her town. And again, CM Punk can't help himself but to butt into every situation. We saw that these two were about to have some altercation, and he bumps in. He tries to restrain Roxanne Perez. Doesn't try to restrain Julia at all, by the way. Clearly playing favorites, picking sides already. This guy, I just want CM Punk to let the competitors fight. Let them play. Stay out of it, CM Punk.
I don't know.
The invaders into NXT, it's too much. Ava, you need to stand up. You need to get control of your locker room. And guess what? Maybe lock the door every now and again. So not every Tom, Dick, and Harry, yeah, I said it, can walk in.
Well, there goes our rating, bro. Okay, so we know that, and I'm actually going to lead into my general manager pick 'em. But we know NXT is going to Chicago and St. Louis. If you had that on your docket, you would definitely add a Chicago superstar. Who would you have there for part of the show? You telling me you just want to have no one from the main roster to help people buy tickets for the event?
I don't believe in invaders. I don't believe in bringing people in from the outside. I am someone who believes in NXT. I believe in this locker room. I believe in the people in it. We don't need to bring in outsiders. I mean, if you can get Michael Jordan, that's a Chicago legend. Let's do that. But otherwise,
he doesn't even go here.
Why?
You're mad about Tyrese Halliburton.
I mean,
Jordan?
You get a legend like Michael Jordan to come through. Yeah. Or, what's the guy from the two movie reviewers?
You want? I think they're both
Siskel.
dead.
Is it Siskel?
I think they're both dead though.
Which one of them? Which one of them was from Chicago?
They're both journalists in Chicago. There's two different papers from Chicago.
What's Siskel?
They're both okay. They're both dead. All right, moving on. This brings us to this week's general manager pick'em. General Manager Pickles, where they asked my broadcast colleague Jack Farmer a question as if he were the GM of NXT for some reason. I don't know why anyone would do that. So this one's kind of an easy one. So, with the CW move in 2 weeks, NXT will be going to Chicago on the 1st and St. Louis on the 8th. If you're the general manager of NXT and you could add one more city to that tour, which city would NXT go to?
This is an easy one. I would bring him to Los Angeles because I want to see the show live. So come to LA. And when I say Los Angeles, I'm not talking Bakersfield. I'm not.
No one's talking Bakersfield.
I'm not talking about the venue where Korn started their 2008 South.
You leave the Mechanics Bank Arena out of this. You leave him alone.
I'm talking about Los Angeles, baby. Come to LA. Let me see. I want to see you here. I want to see you come to the bright lights, the big city. I want to see all the stars here in Los Angeles. That's where I go.
I had the whole rent on Everett, Washington. I guess I'm going to be living in a tent next year. That's pretty much the way it is. Can we talk about the moment?
No one respects Everett, Washington.
Yeah, I just love you. Like, yeah, man, Pacific Northwest, except for Everett. Like, what did that town ever do to you? Like, wow. Okay. I'm an East Coast guy, except for Jersey,
Well, isn't that every East Coast guy?
Yeah, exactly. You can't say I'm from Jersey when half the state is forest. But that's besides the point. Let's get into a moment that was shared.
Everett, the Jersey of the Pacific Northwest.
Boo, like Hilton. Boo. Cheap heat.
Everyone in Everett is like, what did we do?
I know. You had to be there, man. But you saw how he is. Okay. So this is actually the second most important social media moment, if you can imagine this, because of all the stars that were on NXT last week. It's the saga of the Don. Tony D'Angelo was already having a bad day when he had to face Hammerstone because of a paid contract went awry. This actually happened. In the match against Hammerstone, he quit halfway through, walking away and getting the counter. Obafemi was like, I broken him, and that's in my terrible accent. But it was confirmed that the Don is scared. Now, Jack, I ask you this. Are you rooting for Tony D'Angelo moving forward?
These TNA guys coming in. I mean, how I could have called this a year in advance, not following through on his contract, Hammerstone, not doing the job he was paid to do, not trying to make it right once it's come through. It's just disgusting. These TNAers come in, they take people's money, they don't do the job they're supposed to do. But when it comes to Hammerstone, I gotta say that dude's a specimen. I mean, look at that guy. I mean, that is as Booker T says, no bread, no water.
Do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do how Booker does it.
Oh, me.
Just me.
I mean, I knew that Tony D'Angelo was in trouble here, not just because a Hammerstone is like muscles on muscles, but first off, Tony wearing a belt and suspenders, not a good start to the matchup. But I think it takes a lot to make Tony D'Angelo quit, to make Tony D'Angelo scared. I can say he's a specimen, Hammerstone. Tony's in trouble because even though I know Rizzo tried to pump him up, tried to make him feel better, tried to get that motivation back, man, you've already shown your stripes. You've already shown your colors, Tony. You're in trouble, man. I think it's time to maybe go to TNA. Maybe Tony D'Angelo needs to go to TNA. Maybe get some momentum over there.
Hold on. Hold on. You were poo-pooing TNA, people coming in and invading, but you're advocating people to go over to TNA?
I think it's time NXT started shooting some shots across the bow, Flobo. I think it's time that maybe instead of just sitting back and letting all of their wrestlers come over to NXT, I think it's time NXT started sending some firepower over to TNA, started to send some muscle their way and show TNA what it feels like to have an invasion on their hands.
You don't think North Quarter Catch Crew or Ariana Grace's muscles? You don't think the MSK guys, when they were together going over TNA, with some strength?
I say it's blitzkrieg time. I say we send all of them. I say we send the biggest. We send Obafemi. I say we send Jada Parker. I say we send. Well, Ethan Page would never.
Oh, he would never go to TNA. Oh, never.
Not Ethan Page, but maybe Trick Williams over there. I think they need to send everybody over to TNA and just beat them up for a little bit to show them what it feels like. To show them, listen, you've got the Lion. You know, the king of the jungle, they say, even though I never see him in jungles. They're always like in savannas. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the savannas.
Yeah. They say king of the jungle. I never see him in the jungle, but that's where they're. Anyways, the lion, you'll notice most of the time you see them, they're kind of laying around, and then you see like the hyenas, they're chomping around, eating stuff, and they get closer and closer, and they get closer and closer. Maybe start eating some of the scraps of the lion. Eventually, they get too close, and every now and again, that lion needs to growl. That lion needs to show them who the king of the jungle is. And I think that NXT needs to let these hyenas at TNA know who the king of the jungle is.
Shout out to Daddy Cochran, who says, wow, Jack is super crank. You bite your tongue after banging for that strong language, sir. Who's hyenas? The hyena TNA in this situation?
Yes.
Okay. I was trying to see if I follow you, but okay.
Who else would the hyenas be?
Dude, I wish I do. I'm sorry.
Level up.
Okay, so can we talk about Adriana Rizzo just for a second? You're right. She did try to motivate Tony D'Angelo. She gave her the Rocky Balboa speech. Is that how hard you hit or how you get hit and keep moving forward? That's how winning is done. Now, you said she earned her stripes. Question is, what's next for her? Is she going to do that and take some of her own advice in the women's division, or is she going to be basically a guide or coasting area at this point?
I think she has a lot of potential as someone who can help guide people to victory. I think her as a manager is something that is something she would just naturally be great at. Now, she has the facilities around her to make her an incredible wrestler in the ring as well. So if she wants to keep going that route, I certainly wouldn't stop her at this point. But I believe I was buying into what she was saying. I was feeling fired up by what she was saying. I think that she has a way of connecting to wrestlers. She has a way of connecting to athletes. And I think that she could be someone, maybe if not Tony D'Angelo, maybe someone else to help guide them and build them into superstars. I think Rizzo is someone that you want to have a microphone in front of more often.
I wouldn't, because that accent is totally not the same outfit as Tony D'Angelo. He's from Chicago. Her accent is East Coast. I would say Long Island myself, but that's just me.
This is coming from the guy who just tried to do a Rocky Balboa.
Hey, he's from Philly. That's the worst city. Okay.
I thought, what about Jersey?
Oh, that's even worse. Well, you know what? I would say this. People from North Jersey swear they're from New York. People from South Jersey swear they're from Philly. So that state's always fake. So speaking about hyenas in the parking lot, Wes Lee is attacking other people in the parking lot. Zachary Wentz had some footage this week showing him beating up Trey Miguel. Just can't let this whole MSK Rascals thing go. Jack, defend your guy here.
You know, word comes to mind when I saw this. Hypocrisy, Flobo. Hypocrisy.
Okay.
The fact that Zachary Wentz has the nerve as a TNA wrestler to stand in an NXT ring and complain about someone going to someone else's home and picking a fight. The nerve of him to do that.
That was his buddy, though.
As hypocritical as he is, to go into NXT as a TNA person, someone who I don't think anyone has welcomed into NXT before, who's someone who has picked fights with Wes Lee multiple times.
Right.
To sit there and complain that Wes Lee went to where they are and brought the fight to them. Guess what? This is, you called down the thunder, Zachary Wentz. Well, now you got it. You know, this is what they call, mess around and find out, except we're not messing, Flobo.
What are we doing?
We're goofing.
Okay. All right. I got to ask a question, though, because we talk about how dangerous parking lots are. We talk about taking things to your own hands. I don't think of myself as a violent person, but if someone attacked my friends or family, I would get in their face. So if someone beat you up, Jack, am I supposed to go, well, I'm nonviolent? Gotta say it to the brand. You're only gonna be pushed to act at all.
Flobo, no one believes this "I'm not a violent person" act you put on in front of the camera.
Oh no, they figured me out.
Look, I mean, that's what happens when you are out there picking fights with people who are from a different brand as you. So you have no business. I don't think I can think of any historical reason why Zachary Wentz should be dealing with Wes Lee right now. And this is what happens when you try to get into their face. Jeroy J in the chat, by the way, comeuppance is the word Jeroy would use.
That's a good word. I like
and
that.
I agree. I think that this is exactly what Trey Miguel had coming. This is exactly what he had coming. Listen, if you're messing with an NXT person, you need to be aware that from that moment on, some people it's on site. If you mess with an NXT person, it's in the parking lot. If you're in a parking lot and you're messing with someone from NXT, guess what? You're not safe.
So is this his fault his head got bashed in a car door?
Yes. 100% his fault.
Wow.
In fact, I think Trey Miguel should apologize to Wes Lee for making Wes Lee drive out there.
That's a weird image. Oh, my bad. Can you forgive me? Looking like the defeated image after a Street Fighter match.
That's a start.
That is awful. We got to move on because we could talk about TNA's invading NXT all you want. So let's get this out the way. The tag team of Wendy Chu and Rosemary had a match against the new-ish alliance, or realliance of Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. Paxley and Valkyria get the win, but the question I have is still being raised. Rosemary, since being on NXT programming, has an abysmal win-loss record. In fact, she took the pin this week. If you're Rosemary, what's in it for her?
Well, this is something that I've been a supporter of Tatum Paxley for a long time. You can check the receipts. You can check.
Unfortunately, he's right.
Run back the footage. So if you're messing with Tatum Paxley, you're going to get messed up. This is a person who has her priorities straight, has her life balanced out, is a very talented wrestler, and her getting these wins doesn't surprise me at all. I want to talk about, of course, this issue with Wendy Chu trusting someone from TNA in the first place.
Please.
But I'm so happy about this teaming of Paxley and Valkyria again. It's so wholesome. It's so happy. I just feel so good about it that Tatum Paxley, Lyra Valkyria are together and they're working, they're getting wins. This is a cool thing to see, Flobo, and I think that's what we should be focusing, not the negativity like your type likes to always focus on.
I guess shout out to Ricky Sinclair. I did mention that Lyra was added to 2K24. I have a season pass, so I gotta make sure I get that downloaded because or else I'll be behind and every download will be 20 minutes or more. So I'm going to talk about this for a second because Lyra Valkyria definitely has another job, another roster she's on coming down to NXT. And much like CM Punk, you lamented the fact that CM Punk was coming down Tuesday nights, but it's okay if Lyra does it in this particular matchup.
When I go to the NXT alumni section, I don't see CM Punk, but I do see Lyra Valkyria. So Lyra Valkyria gets a pass. She's welcome back. We're happy to see Lyra Valkyria. CM Punk, the only time he ever was around NXT was when he was lurking.
He was behind a curtain. Everyone was like, "We saw you." And I was like, "That's weird." I was looking in the corners. Yeah, we saw you. It was an energy.
I hope you had like the you know the curtain halfway covering his face, like looking like this out the side with one hand holding it like this, like
he isn't the most like recognizable guy on the roster with the tattoos. You figure it out. So let's talk about people who are now can be considered future NXT alums. Ashanti the Adonis was in action this week against everyone's favorite DJ. I don't understand what they're doing with this, but Eddie Thorpe was in action, and I forgot how cool Eddie Thorpe is. I love the moves. I love the presentation. I actually love his music. I love this, I don't call them Titantrons anymore, but entrance videos, and Eddie Thorpe gets the dub. But Ashanti let down one fan in the audience. She did not like the fact that her man couldn't get the win. Talk me through it.
So big win for the big room DJ, Eddie Thorpe. I'm glad to see him back in action. Glad to see him get a big win. I'm with you here. I've always been an Eddie Thorpe fan. I don't understand why he is so adamant about stopping the kind of person you want on your dance floor. You know what I mean? I mean, these guys should be working together. Eddie Thorpe, he brings in all the ladies for the dances, and then Ashanti's out there on the dance floor handing out roses. This seems like a perfect symbiotic relationship.
Question.
I don't know why they're
Let me jump in here. Is that romantic still? Giving a single rose? Or is that considered creepy?
I mean, I wish I got a single rose every now and again.
I know you and me, brother, but I mean the women.
I
would love roses.
I mean, I can't speak for them. I know our demo probably doesn't have is probably mostly male, but ladies, just so you know, guys love getting roses and compliments. You should do it more often. We never get it. No one ever compliments guys or gives them things like that.
No, I compliment you all the time. You just leave me on red.
That's true. Well, I give you a thumbs up every now and again.
That's even worse. Cool. Jack, your inspiration. Dope. Okay. You're a robot and a monster.
just let it K.
Okay, so put it in the grand annals of WWE and NXT programming. We have seen many of Lothario. Those don't tend to have the best luck. We love Adonis. We said he has the tools. Can this get him more opportunities, or should he go back to the gym and focus?
I think that he needs to focus a little bit. I enjoy the fact that he's just being himself right now. But if you're not getting wins, it comes down, for me, it always comes down to wins. You got to get the wins. And so if he's not getting the wins, and he's also picking fights with people who should be good friends with. So, well, I guess Eddie Thorpe picked a lot of the fight, actually. I kind of falls on Eddie Thorpe. But
what?
Eddie Thorpe picked the fights.
No, he didn't. Ashanti was being disrespectful backstage, and Eddie had to speak up as a gentleman would.
He was just having casual conversations with fellow co-workers. That's all that was happening.
Yeah, HR violation. Eddie helped him out. He saved him from himself.
Can you name anyone in HR in WWE? Ava, I think, cleared them all out of NXT. I think Ava, her first day in office, she said, I'm going to make room in the budget, cut all of HR.
I'm sorry. If I'm at work and my boss goes, yeah, we're cutting HR, I'll go, why? I will raise so many questions.
Speaking of questions, now that I think about it, Ava, the only GM in the history of WWE to have 2 assistants simultaneously and still has to delegate contract signings to third parties. Like, what is Ava doing at this point?
I can't disagree with that. I don't know. Are they AGMs? Are they friends? I have no idea what Stevie Turner and Robertson are doing.
I'm Ava just doing. I've never seen someone work so hard at not working, Flobo.
Can we talk about somebody who also works hard, doesn't work a lot?
Sure.
His name is Shawn Spears. Guy's just hanging out, not going to work, all banged up, saying, I want to teach you, Brooks. And Brooks is like, nah. And then he's like, hey, do you still need my help? And he's like, nah. And then this week he's like, hey, can I come with you? And Brooks is like, okay, I believe in you. Manipulation. The match against Dion Lennox, a guy that takes off his glasses to have special powers, didn't really help him out many because Brooks Jensen, the unhinged, still gets the win with Shawn Spears in tow. Talk to me about the match and what it means for Brooks Jensen going forward, having someone lurking behind him like Shawn Spears.
Well, I appreciate the spot-on Brooks Jensen impression. I disagree with everything you just said.
What? It was classic.
It was a very good impression. I think Shawn Spears has helped Brooks Jensen immensely. His win-loss record was abysmal before Shawn Spears came around. Now he's getting wins. But the story that I actually took away from this was we actually saw the kind of person Dion Lennox really is. We saw the kind of person he is and the kind of person we could expect to see going forward. And it's a shame. Brooks Jensen put on the glasses and Dion Lennox hit him. I mean, Dion Lennox clearly the kind of bully to hit a guy who wears glasses.
It's his glasses. He stole them.
We've been told since the dawn of time, you don't hit a guy wearing glasses, but Dion Lennox, no hesitation, hit him, hit Brooks Jensen while wearing glasses. It was really disappointing to see someone like Dion Lennox.
There weren't his glasses.
A role model, could be someone kids look up to, but instead hits a guy with glasses.
Okay. So that was from a time where having glasses was seen as an impairment or a disability. We kind of moved past that point with the advances of eye health and LASIK and being able to do things with glasses with thinner lenses. And there were Dion's glasses that was stolen from him and put on Brooks Jensen's face.
What if Dion broke those glasses? Then someone who needs those glasses wouldn't be able to wear them anymore.
They're his glasses. He would screw himself over.
And this is the worst kind of thing is there are certain things that maybe you're young and you make a mistake, but this is the kind of thing I think it just shows who you are as a person. And Dion Lennox shows he's the kind of person that hits you with glasses. And it's unfortunate because he's got all the tools, very athletic, someone who probably could be a huge star, but I think we'll just always know he's one of those bullies.
Ricky Sinclair says in the chat that Dion Lennox reminds him of Percy Watson, which talk about deep cuts. That's a deep cut if there ever was one. I was a Percy Watson fan. And I usually ask about the rookies or relative rookies to Jack about the ceiling. What's next for someone, what he could possibly do? The question I have for you is this. You're Dion Lennox. You are young, you're athletic, you're talented, you have glasses. But if you think about it, there are a lot of people that are in your class, or your height, your weight, or what have you. What do you have to do if you're Dion Lennox to stick out on an NXT roster that seems to be evolving by the day?
Well, you got to get wins. It's simple as that. Taking a loss to Brooks Jensen is not going to help him any. I agree with you. He has all the measurables. I mean, he seems charismatic, seems a good-looking guy, strong, fast, athletic, moves very well in the ring. When he hits his offense, it looks clean as a whistle. I think he's got all those things, but now he's got to find a way to get wins. I don't know. Maybe Rizzo helps him out. Maybe Rizzo gives him some guidance. We talked about Rizzo earlier and possibly being a manager. I think maybe this could be one of those pairings that maybe works out for them. But someone needs to guide his career instead of just getting into matchups with Brooks Jensen, which I think we can both agree wasn't a strategic maneuver from a booking standpoint. It wasn't something where he said, this is how I build my career. It was something that came out of emotion. He needs someone that's going to help him find a path to get wins, to get the momentum and get into title contention. That's what he's missing.
That's what he's missing. What do you think Dion Lennox is missing? Let me know in the chat below. If the answer is nothing, that's also valid. I'm just kind of curious what it means to be on a roster that's stacked. And speaking about a stacked roster, it looks like North Carolina Catch Crew are starting beefs left and right. We'll talk about Ren Sinclair after this, but let's talk about the tag team matchup player. Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. Remember him? Back from Japan. Are taking on Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans. Javon got some good news after the match. He'll be facing Randy Orton in St. Louis in 3 weeks' time, so props to that. But the match itself was interesting about that mentor-mentee relationship. Cedric Alexander has taken Javon Evans under his wing, and those boys are bouncy.
Yep. Tavion Heights, Miles Bourne has been great. Tavion Heights, I think, has had a fantastic run in Japan, and he's going to come back better than ever. I think definitely a buy now stock. Tavion Heights, I think he's going to continue to grow. But Javon Evans, it's almost like you can't even say he's a buy now stock because it's already gone too high. It's already there. You know what I mean? The win is great. Cedric Alexander is great. The story, obviously, Randy Orton here, and there's not anything you can say that's a bigger endorsement of a young individual than Randy Orton wanting to have a match with you. And clearly Randy Orton wanted this match. Randy Orton doesn't have matches he doesn't want. He doesn't let an Ava tell him he's going to have a match with somebody. He picks him out. And this is a match that Randy Orton wants. And I think the favorite in this one clearly is Randy Orton. Probably going to be a win for Randy Orton after a tough loss to Gunther. But this is a big deal for Javon Evans. This is a cool thing for Javon Evans. And this is something that even though Javon Evans done some things that's frustrated me, it made me upset.
The entire time he was on the roster.
He's let veterans like Trick Williams manipulate him. I get it.
Forget it?
I do want to say, though, that I think that he's someone we need to watch and understand that similar to Randy Orton started very young, but you could tell this young man at the time was going to have a big career. Javon Evans, same thing. I think that we should enjoy everything we're getting from him at this point because Javon Evans is going to have a very long, very successful career, and it's cool to be a part of history.
That's great. If you're going to put your chips in, do it now, even though Jack says the time has already passed. But I still think there's a second round available. Gary Nails says, Orton versus Evans, which sounds like a trial, gives me Razor Ramon versus 1-2-3 Kid vibes. That could really be cool if you got the upset. It could be a show of respect. I would say don't be like me and bet your ret check on it. But if you have some extra cash in your pocket, why not go for it?
Yeah, it'll be very cool to see. And also the thing about Randy Orton is, as a viewer, is they've always said in the past, there's the Randy Orton rule where how do they look standing across from Randy Orton can tell you a lot about their ceiling. And so we'll get to see Javon Evans. How do you look standing next to a legend? And if he looks like he fits the part, we might see him on the main roster sooner rather than later.
I feel like the Randy Orton test and the Ms. Dalton scale look like two of the same things. Like they're kind of the way you can measure how average or above average you are. I'm a Ms. guy, so I'll always say, can the Ms put you over? That's how you know if you're going to be a star in the future. Yeah. But the other side of No Quarter Catch Crew, Ren Sinclair, which is still kind of in, kind of out, kind of just being a wild card, was told to make a name for herself. So she went right up to the Women's North American Champion, Kalani Jordan, and slapped her across the face. So much so, I think Kalani Jordan's voice changed quite a bit. That match is official in a couple weeks. Kalani Jordan versus Ren Sinclair, but is Ren out of her mind?
She is, and I love her for it. Ren Sinclair is one of my absolute favorites right now.
What do you mean you love her for it?
This is exactly what I want to see from pro wrestlers. Go make a name for yourself. All right, slap. Makes a name for herself, probably getting a title shot. This was fantastic. I love this. Ren Sinclair, truly one of my favorite wrestlers right now across the board. I am all in on Ren Sinclair.
Hold on. Let's talk about the sanctity of the Women's North American Championship. Are you telling me you could just slap the champ and become instantly number one contender? Is that fair? Is that a meritocracy there, Jack?
I mean, as Ricky Sinclair in the chat mentioned, this was a Ms. Park slap. So,
fair.
And she was the number one contender after that slap as well. So, Ren Sinclair, I love this. She has no filter in the best possible way. When she wants something, she goes after it 100%. And that's what it takes to be successful, Flobo. Ren Sinclair is going to be a superstar.
It's unfortunate for the actual matchup not being part of the CW thing. It's going to appear next week on the final USA NXT. But I have to ask you the same question. Will we have a new champion in Ren Sinclair?
Ren Sinclair may be undeniable, Flobo. This is someone who, have we ever seen her not get her way when she was 100% backing what she wanted? I think she's always she wanted to be part of No Quarter Catch Crew. She got it. She wanted to be the de facto leader. In many ways, she kind of became it. I think that she's going to win this. I think she wants it, and she's going to get it, because once Ren Sinclair wants something, nothing's stopping her.
Well, I hope it's not the case. What about matches and rankings? Remember when wrestling promotions had power rankings? Huh? Whatever happened to that? Wins and losses should matter, not just slaps.
I used to do a power ranking show.
You did? What was it called?
I think it's Farmer's Market.
No. It's Lead of the Week.
Lead of the Week. That's right. Yeah. I forgot. I forgot the show I was on that I hosted and made.
Yeah, for produced. A year and change, man. It was a good one.
Lead of the Week. That's right.
Real quick, thoughts about the I can't even call it revenge tour. The Ridge Holland aggression tour. Look, he went through half of Chase U and Riley Osborne is the last stand. Do you think that Riley has a chance?
I think that these two kids are angry, and their anger is misplaced. They are like a lot of young kids and young adults in the world right now who are realizing that the school they went to is a scam, and that they have spent years and tuition following something because the school promised them something, and now they've been told that that's just not the case. Ridge Holland was the one that told them this, and they're trying to shoot the messenger, Flobo. Ridge Holland,
really?
Ridge Holland woke these kids up to the way the real world works, and so I think Ridge Holland is going to get the upper hand because Ridge Holland is on the right side of history.
So you're actually rooting for Ridge Holland here?
I don't know if rooting is the right word. I just know that Ridge Holland's right. He's trying to help these kids realize that this for-profit institution that I don't think is accredited, it's never once said it's accredited, is really just taking their money.
To be fair, they never said they were unaccredited. Ricky Sinclair asked, I'm not the only one that thinks the ends of a side of Ridge. It's very possible. It's very likely. I would hate that because Ridge literally said when he got there, you remind me of my daughter. And that is super creepy to me personally.
Yeah, that's a creepy team up there.
Yeah.
Have we ever had a father-daughter team? No, Rey Mysterio and Dom Mysterio are the only like parent teaming, right? That was like a legitimate team.
Well, yeah, but like Dominic and Ray are actually related. When an older man goes, "You remind me of my daughter," and then they start tagging out or going together, you're just like, bro, that's not cool. Like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to find if there's a way to compare it to anything else.
No, I think back when she was Reina Gonzalez, Raquel Rodriguez, I brought her dad to like a taping, and that was kind of like, oh, there's her dad. But it wasn't like my daughter and I, besides Flair's, right? Besides Rick and Charlotte. There really hasn't been a father-daughter team that was actively competing at the same time.
Yeah, and even then with the Flair's, Rick wasn't really competing. He was more just like.
So Ricky Sinclair says Santina and Ariana, which is true, but it happened on TNA, and Jack hates that show, apparently.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, TNA. No, TNA is great. TNA is a great company. TNA is a great show. I went to Bound for Glory one year, and it was fantastic. It was a great show. TNA, a lot of great wrestlers, a lot of good talent over there. They just need to stay.
You sound like such like a HOA head. Like, hey, we love it. It's not in our backyard. Let's do it 2 towns over.
wait. How did you phrase that? I think I need to put that on my.
You sound like an HOA president.
That's my we love it, just not in our backyard. I think that should be. I want that sign on the front of NXT.
That's
on the
awesome.
Front of the NXT building.
It's an election year, Jack. We can't do that. And finally, tonight in the women's division, Lola Vice wants a bit of her pound of flesh, which is something that CM Punk has said a lot and it's gotten to my head, against JC Jane and Fatal Influence. I wanted to say Toxic Attraction. I wanted to say Fatal Attraction, but Fatal Influence. This team has run roughshod, but Fatal Influence has their head on a swivel because not only are they dealing with Lola Vice, There's Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan in their sights as well. You and I both know, Jack, that in NXT, you want to make sure you don't make too many enemies, but there's so many enemies coming from Fatal Influence. I ask if this is the right strategy for them.
Fatal Influence, they're all on the same page. They've got things figured out. Lola Vice thinks she's got things all figured out. And if you want evidence that she doesn't have things all figured out, she got beat up on NXT. She got beat up after her match. So clearly she doesn't have things all figured out. And the fact that she doesn't know to accept the help of Jada Parker, Lola Vice needs to listen to Fatal Influence. Lola Vice needs to be like Jasmine Nix and start to absorb the knowledge of the veterans who have been there for a very long time, like JC Jane and Fallon Henley. Lola Vice is never going to get over the hump and get to that next level that she could get to if she isn't listening to people like JC Jane and Fallon Henley. Look at the growth of Jasmine Nix. Jasmine Nix is on superstardom trajectory. Lola Vice, she's almost there. She just needs to quit acting like she already knows it all and start learning from the people who have been there and done that.
Pop quiz. Do you consider Lola Vice and Jada Parker rookies still as for Fatal Influence and Vendetta?
Well, Jada Parker is on a whole other level. We've already discussed that.
Right? But she's still a rookie or not?
No, she's not a rookie. She's Lola Jada Parker. Jada Parker is going to take the world by storm. She's taking the world by storm.
Okay.
She's going to be on main roster sooner rather than later. I mean, she may be on the CW debut, and then she's going to be. It wouldn't shock me if come WrestleMania she's already on the main roster. She's making her way to the main roster.
Okay.
Notice I never said Jada Parker needs to listen to Fatal Influence. Jada Parker just needs to keep doing Jada Parker.
All right.
Lola Vice needs to listen to Fatal Influence.
Is she a rookie, though?
Is who?
Do you consider Lola Vice a rookie?
Lola Vice, yeah, it's her first year, right?
No. She's been here for more than a year.
But she's been competing on the show. She's still kind of a rookie in the way she carries herself.
Interesting.
In the way she carries herself, and that's why she needs to listen to Fatal Influence, right?
Wow.
That's why she needs to. Booker T talks about it. It's a way you conduct yourself, and Lola Vice has the tools. Just needs to listen to the people who have been there, the veterans, like a Fatal Influence.
So I was looking it up right now, according to the Wikipedia Google machine. Lola Vice's debut in NXT was January 27th, 2023. So she's been here for more than a year and a half.
So
she was a former number one contender. That's what I'm saying.
She could be done being a rookie if she listens to Fatal Influence. See, I always want to say Fatal Attraction. But,
it's the name. Your crew name sucks.
Fatal Influence is a cool name.
It isn't.
There's just other names that you want to say.
What's a Fatal Influence? Fentanyl? Like, come on, man. There's other ways to describe your group. It sucks. Look, and I get it. Some gangs have dumb names too. I guess I won't tell them to their face, but I'm just saying. Okay.
Have you been on social media? That is Fatal Influence. Lola Vice needs to be influenced by the Fatals so that she can go beyond being a rookie.
Well, I ask you this. Jada Parker has been on the roster and less time, and Jack doesn't consider her a rookie, but Lola Vice is. And I do think if Fatal Influence wants to go after rookies, Kalani Jordan, I'll give it to you. You should be focusing on her and her gold, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, I always focus on the one with the gold. That's always the goal. But I think the Fatal Influence is just, they're altruistic and they're trying to give back to the next generation. And that's why they're taking their eyes off of personal gain and championships to help the younger generation get better and grow.
Man, I could not disagree more. But before we wrap this up and do our MVP, is there any final notes on NXT this week you want to tell me?
No, I think we did a pretty good job. You left a lot of holes in this, but I filled them in for you.
Absolutely. Lions, hyenas, and now time for my favorite segment of the show. It's the MVP of NXT. Got to replace that with Tyrese Halliburton. It's the MVP of NXT. So we're going to ask you, my friend, who stuck out for you the most this week? Person, tag team, staff member? Let me have it.
I mean, I think obviously Tyrese Halliburton, MVP of NXT. I think he helped bring the show together. He brought some much needed star power, really made the contract signing feel like there was weight to it. Tyrese Halliburton, MVP of NXT.
An hour ago, you just said he doesn't go here. I can't believe it. He's terrible. Now he's the MVP. Which one is it?
Look, when you can get this cross genre kind of star to come in, someone who's not only a star amongst the world, but outside of pro wrestling, bringing them in to be a part of something like this, a real just masterclass move by Shawn Michaels.
Sneaky. So Ricky Sinclair says Ren Sinclair MVP, which would be an interesting choice.
Are you related, Ricky?
That'd be kind of funny. It's like, yeah, isn't like Tony Angel's cousin in these chats sometimes too? I forget what show this is. And this Motor City Machine Gun Show debut episode, they should. And get Kushida. I want some time splitter action as well. My MVP is not Ren Sinclair, and it's definitely not Tyrese Halliburton. He came to Orlando and buried the city. Who does that?
Who else? MVP move. Come to Orlando and bury it. Come on, you did the world a favor. What?
I got to give it to Javon Evans. And even though it doesn't seem like the Randy Orton match happened this week, I'm already anticipating the smaller of the two CW debut shows. We're seeing past versus present or present versus future. It's going to be a banger. Javon Evans is my MVP for shooting a shot and getting an instant response from Randy Orton himself.
Yeah.
As we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with the CW airing, Draped in Gold may go on a hiatus or it may not. We'll make sure you're first to know what our plans on. Again, this is more of a cable viewing time window thing. We'll always keep you in the know. Jack Farmer, you are a special and busy man. If someone wanted to book you, how'd they go about doing that?
The best way is to check me out across all social media at Real Jack Farmer. You can also check me out at jackcfarmer.com for booking information and for some of my reels, all that fun stuff. But you can also check me out. I'm going to be doing ring announcing for United Wrestling Network and West Coast Pro Wrestling on Tuesday at the Irvine Improv. That'll be a very fun show with some pretty cool names there. You can check that out at theimprov.com.
It is interesting to have a wrestling show inside of a comedy club.
I think they're great. I think for people who go to indie shows, I think musical venues for wrestling shows are awesome, or comedy, in this case, comedy. But I love the staging and the lighting. I think it always looks really cool when wrestling companies do that.
I just feel like a grandpa, I want a seat with a table. I can order some drinks and just have a good time. Like, it's kind of weird. Like the days of me going to a front row or indie show, it's just over.
Especially if your table is like right next to the ring and you're eating and they start fighting next to you. Like, you pick up your glass so it doesn't spill over. And you're like, I'm eating, guys. I'm eating.
That's actually my worst fear, is like buying a $20 beer and having some like hardcore guy just take it. Like, hey!
I know on TV it always looks so it looks so cool, but you can imagine, like, man, I stood in line for 45 minutes and got this $30 beer. Hey, wait.
Do I get a voucher? I have a voucher. We'll be back next week, same time, to break down the best of NXT, and we'll give you more insight of what's going on with the CW transition. Hopefully, we can work it out. If not, you'll be the first to know. But until that time, my friend, please say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.